So now we are going to start the section 2. It is related to the pre-stressed concrete. Okay. In this section we have to study 3 units. Unit number 4 is related to some introduction of pre-stressed concrete and analysis of pre-stressed concrete beam using 3 concepts. Okay. In unit number 5 we have to study the losses in pre-stress, and finally in unit number 6 we have to study the design of pre-stressed members. Okay. From that, let's start unit number 4. Let's start unit number 4. Okay. So unit number 4. So what we have to study in unit number 4? In unit number 4, it includes some introduction of pre-stressed concrete and analysis of, okay, introduction of pre-stressed concrete, okay, and analysis of beam using 3 concepts. Concept number 1, first is the stress concept, second is the strain concept, what is called a C-line concept, okay, and finally load balancing concepts. So this is some contents of unit number 4. Okay. Now I will have this. Now, first, what is the pre-stress? This word is giving the meaning of pre-stress itself. Pre-stressed. That means already stress is developed in the member. It is called pre-stress. So why we are going to develop the stress in earlier, that we have to study. And what is the main comparison of pre-stressed concrete with reinforced cement concrete? That means RCC. So first I will tell you why we have to stress the concrete in earlier. That means why we want a pre-stress. What is the requirement of pre-stress? Okay, so I will tell you. So in RCC, so in the reinforced cement concrete, what is the concept? What is the concept? I will tell you this concept by giving one example related to beam. Okay. So in RCC, I want to sketch one beam. It is the one 3D view of beam. And when the load is coming on beam, so due to that load, the beam get bent. Due to that load, the beam get bent. In the RCC section, if you consider the beam, the load is coming on the beam transversely. Okay. So due to that load, this beam get bent like this. So due to that load, the beam get bent like this. So due to that load, the beam is get bent like this. Okay. Now, due to that bending, considering the simple bending theory, due to that bending, the beam is developed the one axis, and that axis is called a neutral axis. That axis is called a neutral axis. Okay. So due to that neutral axis, two zones are developed. One is the compression zone, and another is the tensile zone. Okay. Above neutral axis, there is development of compression zone due to the simple bending of beam. And below neutral axis, there is development of a tensile zone. Okay. So now the concrete is in compression. So this part is nothing but the concrete is in compression, and this part is nothing but the concrete is in tension. So as per our assumption, as per our consideration, the tensile strength of concrete is neglected and compression strength of concrete is considered. So we are considering the strength of concrete, which is only in compression. Okay, that means we are only considering this part of beam. We are neglecting this part. That means this part is west. That means concrete poured in this part, concrete which is present in this part, it is not taking any part in strength of a beam. Only this part we have to consider. So this is west. This total cross section is not considering in the strength of a beam. Now what to do? It is possible to develop the total compression in beam? Yes, it is possible. How it is possible? The beam is having total compression. Is it possible? Yes. And when the beam is in total compression, that total cross section, the total strength of a beam is considered. How it is possible? It is possible in pre-stressed concrete. So what is exactly the simple definition of a pre-stressed concrete? The pre-stressed concrete, the internal stresses are developed to counteract the stresses developed due to the external loads. That is the pre-stress. Internal stresses are already developed in the concrete to counteract the external stresses developed due to the external loads, that I will tell you. Okay. So let's consider one beam. Okay. Let's consider one beam like this. Okay. So if this beam is again subjected to the transverse loading, and due to this external loading, this beam get bent like this. In this manner. Okay. So this beam bent like this in this manner. Like this. Okay. Now what you have to do? Now you have to provide one high tensile wire passing through the concrete. From that concrete, and stretch that wire by applying one high pre-stressing force, and stretch that wire by applying one high pre-stressing force, and due to that stretchness of wire, the upward thrust is developed internally upward thrust is developed, and due to this upward thrust, due to that upward force, this beam get bent exactly opposite of this, like this. So this beam get bent like this. I will show you here. This beam get bent like this, isn't it? Okay. So due to external force, the beam bent like this. Okay. So just I want to rub this. Because this picture I want to clear here. Okay. Yes. Now it is clear. Okay. So due to external force, the beam bent like this, and due to internal stretching of that wire, it is a high tensile wire. Internal stretching of that wire, the beam get exactly bent opposite of this nature. That means due to external force, the beam get in hugging nature, and due to internal force, internal stressing force, the beam get bent like this, and total beam is now in steady condition. There is no bending. Okay. Due to external force, it tried to bend like this. Due to internal force, it tried to bend like this, and both bending are opposite in nature, and beam is not going to bend. If the beam is not going to bend, that means the total beam is total concrete or total material is compression. Total material in compression. If beam is going to bend, when beam is bent, there is development of two zones. Here beam is not going to bend. That means the total concrete is in compression. So this is the concept of pre-stress. So you have to develop the internal stresses to counteract the external stresses developed due to the external force. So this is the small concept of pre-stressed concrete. Now I will tell you one more thing related to pre-stressed concrete. When you are going to stretch that cable, you require high tensile force. To carry that high tensile force, you require the high tensile steel wires. Normal steel bar are not taking the load related to the large forces. Okay, the normal steel is not applicable here. High tensile wires you have to use, which is having a yield stress is more than 1000 Newton per mm square. Already we have used, we know that we have used the steel bars in section 1. That steel bars are having the yield stresses only 250 Newton per mm square, 415 Newton per mm square. But in this section, in this pre-stressed concrete, there is a high tensile force required. So to take the high tensile force, you need a high tensile wires, and that high tensile wires are having a yield stress of minimum yield stress of 1000 Newton per mm square. Again, the high grade of concrete is required, more than M30 grade you have to use in pre-stressed concrete, because when that wires are stretched, the high non-linear stresses are developed, and to take that non-linear stresses you need a high grade of concrete. That means the minimum grade of concrete in pre-stressed concrete is M30 grade. Okay, so now I am going to tell you what is the pre-tensioning or what is the post-tensioning. Okay, so for that I want to rub this. Okay, what is the pre-tensioning and what is the post-tensioning? Pre-tensioning. Okay, and what is the post-tensioning? Pre-tensioning and post-tensioning. I will tell you exactly what is the meaning of this pre-tensioning and post-tensioning. Pre-tensioning, it gives the meaning itself. Pre-tension, that means already wire is tensioned. The wire is tensioned first, and then you have to put the concrete. It is the pre-tensioning. Okay, so what exactly you have to do? First you have to put the wire like this. First you have to put the wire, stretch the wire, and then you have to pour the concrete, and then you have to pour the concrete like this, and then you have to cast the concrete, and then you have to cast the concrete, isn't it? Then you have to cast the concrete. First you have to stretch the cable. First you have to stretch the wire or cable. It is not a wire, or you also call it cable. Okay. First stretch the wire, and then you have to put the concrete. And after that, after the hardening of the concrete, you cut the wire. Okay. Like this. If you cut the wire, due to this stretchness of wire, the beam get bent in hogging manner due to that internal stresses, and due to the external force, the beam get bent in sagging manner. So this is the pre-tensioning. Now what is the post-tensioning? The post-tensioning is nothing but the tension is provided after concreting. Okay, so how it possible? So first you have to cast the concrete. First you have to cast the beam like this. First you have to cast the beam. But while casting the beam, you have to provide one hole. While casting the beam, you have to provide one hole in that beam. Okay, and after that you have to insert. After that you have to insert the wire in that hole. After that you have to insert the wire in that hole, and then you have to stretch the wire. And to maintain the stretchness of that wire, you have to provide some systems here. To maintain the stretchness of this wire, you have to provide some pre-stressing systems. Why we are going to provide pre-stressing systems? We have to provide the pre-stressing systems to maintain the stretchness of that cable. Okay, so this is the post-tensioning, this is the pre-tensioning. So simple meaning is, in pre-tensioning already wire is stretched and then you have to put the concrete. In post-tensioning, the first concrete is ready, and after that you have to insert the wire and then you have to stretch. So this is the difference between, this is the pre-tensioning and post-tensioning. Some pre-stressing systems are there. So what are the names of that systems? The first system is Freyssinet. Freyssinet system, because Freyssinet is the name of scientist. Freyssinet system. Second system is Manganiello system. Manganiello-Blatton system. So these are the systems you have to provide to maintain the stretchness of the cable. Third system is Gifford. Gifford. Gifford-Adolph system. I will show you the diagrams also. Okay. And fourth part, Lee-McCall system. So these are the systems you have to provide to maintain the stretchness of the wire in post-tensioning. There is no need to provide the pre-stressing systems in pre-tensioning because already the wire is stretched and after the hardening of wire, after the hardening of concrete, you have to cut that wire. Okay, so there is no need to provide the systems here. Fresnel is the name of the scientist. Magellan also is the name of scientist. Gifford Dahl, Lee Macaulay, these are the name of the scientists. That the scientists which are provided the given the pre-stressing systems. Okay, isn't it? Now I want to tell you the advantages and disadvantages of a pre-stressed concrete. Okay, so advantages are advantages of pre-stressed concrete. Advantages of pre-stressed concrete. Okay, so what are the advantages? So first advantage, so there is a full utilization of both material. Full utilization of both material, that means steel and concrete is utilized fully. Okay, so full utilization of steel and concrete. Okay, second advantage is need less material. Need less material. Okay, need less material. In a heavy loading, under the heavy loading, you need a less material. Okay, next is no cracks. Okay, next is no cracks. Another one is use the entire section to resist load. Use of entire section to resist heavy loads. Use of entire section, total section is used. Okay, better corrosion resistance. And less deflection. And high shear resisting capacity. For heavy loads as compared to RCC. So these are some advantages of pre-stressed concrete. Now I want to concentrate the disadvantages. Okay. Now I want to tell you the disadvantages of pre-stressed concrete. Okay. Disadvantages of pre-stressed concrete, because all these things require very skill technique. Okay, so the first disadvantage is high quality material is required. Okay, so this is one of the disadvantage. Second is more complex techniques. It is more complex technique. Next one is more expensive. For small project it is uneconomical. For heavy project it is economical. Okay. And last disadvantage, I want to read it. Very hardened to recycle. hardened to recycle the material. Hardened to recycle the material. So these are some disadvantages of pre-stressed concrete. Now I will tell you how the stresses are developed in a concrete. Okay, so basically this is a beam. Already I have sketched the so many times this 3D diagram. Okay, so how the stresses are developed in the beam? Look here. Here beam is subjected to the transverse loading, external loading. The external loading is dead load and line load. External loading is dead load and line load. So due to this dead load and due to this line load, there is a development of bending moment. And due to that bending moment, the bending stresses are developed. Obviously, the bending stresses are developed. So due to external load, the bending stresses are developed, and that stresses we have to calculate using M by Z. So this is the bending formula. Z is I by Y. We know that. Z is I by Y. So using this formula, you have to calculate the bending stresses developed due to the external dead load and line load. Now in the pre-stressing force in this system, the pre-stressing force is provided like this. Pre-stressing force is provided like this, P. Pre-stressing force is provided P. So due to that pre-stressing force, there is again development of a direct stress. There is again development of direct stress. So due to this, the development of direct stress, it is nothing but P by A. It is direct stress. This is a bending stress. So due to the pre-stressing force, there is a development of a direct stress. And if this pre-stressing force is having an eccentricity with the CG of a beam, again it develops the bending stress due to the eccentricity of a tendon. Now I will tell you exactly how to analyze the beam. How to analyze the beam? How to analyze the beam? Okay. So for that I want to write down heading. Analysis of beam. What is the analysis of beam? Analysis of beam nothing but you have to find out the only top and bottom fiber stresses. That whatever we have done in SOM 2, direct and bending stresses. Same thing you have to do here. Same thing you have to do here. Okay. So what you have to do? In that case 1, when tendon is nothing but the wire. Tendon is nothing but the wire. When tendon is concentric, that wire is concentric. Okay, how it is? I will sketch here. So this is a beam. Okay, and these are the axes. I want to extend this axis because I want to draw the longitudinal section also. So this is beam. And this is the width of beam and this is the depth of beam. You have to consider now overall depth. Okay. Now the tendon is exactly at the center. No eccentricity. This is a tendon, or it is called a wire. It is called a wire. Okay. And this is the longitudinal section of the beam. Longitudinal. So this is the support, and again this is the support. Okay. And this is the span of the beam. Isn't it? Now the wire is This wire is exactly at the center of a beam. So this is the CG of the beam. CG of the beam and CG of the wire is same here. Okay. So, and you have to fix the wire here and you have to provide the precipitating force P. Okay. And externally the loading is there. Externally loading is there. That is the dead load is there as well as live load is there. Now what you have to do? You have to find out the three stresses now. One, the direct stress developed due to the precipitating force. Okay. Then bending stress developed due to the dead load and bending stress developed due to the live load. That you have to find out. I will tell you. You have to find out the top and bottom fiber stresses. What you have to do? You have to find out the stresses at top fiber as well as at bottom fiber. So, how to find out the stresses? So, I will tell you. So, top fiber stress. Top fiber stress. Okay. Now, first is the direct stress due to precipitating force. Direct stress due to precipitating force. It is always positive. It is always positive. Compressive nature. Now I am going to add the next stress is bending stress. Bending stress due to dead load. Dead load. And plus again bending stress due to live load. These stresses you have to consider. Now, top fiber stress, you have to write down on the top here. Direct stress is P by A. P is the precipitating force. A is the cross section area of the beam. P by A. Plus bending stress due to dead load. So that bending stress is developed due to the bending moment developed due to the dead load. Okay. So bending moment due to dead load divided by Z. Z is I by Y. Z is I by sectional modulus. So now you have calculated the top fiber stress. You have to put Z top here. Okay. I want to write down like this Z top. Again plus bending moment due to live load. Bending stress developed due to live load is bending moment due to live load divided by Z top. So this is the formula. Using this formula, you have to find out the top fiber stress. Okay, isn't it? Now, how to find out the bottom fiber stress? How to find out the bottom fiber stress? Bottom fiber stress you have to put same, but only change sign. That is the P by A. This direct stress is always compressive minus bending moment due to dead load divided by, now to put Z bottom, minus bending moment due to live load divided by Z bottom. Like this you have to find out the top and bottom fiber stresses. Top and bottom fiber stresses. Now I will write down here what is the P. P is the precipitating force. P is the precipitating force. Capital A is the cross sectional area of beam. Okay. M dead load means bending moment due to dead load, and MLN means bending moment due to live load. Bending moment due to live load, isn't it? And what is the Z? Z is I by Y is the sectional modulus. Is the sectional modulus. I by Y, moment of inertia divided by Y. I will tell this term by calculating the problems, solving the problems. Okay. So this is the formula when a tendon is concentric. When the tendon is concentric. That means there is no eccentricity of this force with the CG of concrete. So here the CG of concrete and CG of steel is same. It is on same line. CG of concrete and CG of steel. Now what? The case 2. Now I am going to tell you the case 2. Now I am going to tell you the case 2 in detail. Okay. The case 2 is when the tendon is eccentric. When the tendon is eccentric. Now what? So this is the beam. Okay. These are the axes. Now what is this? I will tell you. Okay. So this is the longitudinal section of this beam. So these are the supports. And this is the span. Span L. So this is the CG of concrete. So this is CG of concrete. CGC, CG of concrete. Loading is there obviously. Dead load and live load is there. Okay. Now the prestressing force cable is just below the CG of concrete. CG of concrete. I will show it like this. Okay. So now this is the cable. Okay. You have to fix it one side and provide the prestressing force in this side. You can stretch it on both sides also. Okay. Now this is the CG of steel. This is CG of steel. Now there is a difference between CG of concrete and CG of steel, and that difference is called eccentricity E. That difference is called eccentricity E. Eccentricity is constant throughout the beam. Constant throughout the beam. Okay. So this is the width of the section and this is the depth of the section. So what you have to do? Now you have to find out the stresses. Now there is the one stress is extra. That stress is the bending stress developed due to the eccentricity of the tendon, eccentricity of a wire. It is called a wire or tendon. It is called a wire, or you can say tendon. Tendon. Okay, or you can say tendon. Now what is the top fiber stress? What is the top fiber stress? So direct stress due to the prestressing force, already we know that. Direct stress due to prestressing force, okay, plus bending stress. Bending stress due to dead load, okay, plus bending stress due to live load, and one more new force is bending stress. Bending stress due to eccentricity of wire. Eccentricity of wire. Now I want to put sign here. I will tell you exactly. Okay. So the top fiber stress. P by A is correct. P by A. Then plus bending moment due to dead load divided by Z top plus bending moment due to die load divided by Z top, because we are calculating the top fiber stress. So you have to put the Z top. For rectangular section, Z top and Z bottom is same for symmetrical section, don't worry. Okay. Now what is the bending stress developed due to eccentricity of wire? The bending stress developed due to eccentricity of wire. Due to this eccentricity, the moment is developed by P into E term. Okay, so bending moment is P into E divided by Z. M by Z, same thing. Again, but bending of beam due to dead load is sagging. Like this. Bending of beam due to live load is sagging. Now bending of beam due to this bending moment is hogging. Okay, so to put here minus. Look here, I'm going to put here minus. Now I'm going to put sign here minus. Okay, so remember that. Now how to find out the bottom fiber stress? Bottom fiber stress is same. Only change the sign. Keep P by A as it is. Don't change the sign. Minus bending moment due to dead load by Z bottom minus bending moment due to live load by Z bottom. Now to put plus bending moment due to the eccentricity of a tendon, okay, divided by Z bottom. Now what is the E? E is the eccentricity. What is the E? E is the eccentricity. Like this, the bending stresses are developed in the beam. You have to use these equations and find out the top and bottom fiber stresses. Now we have to solve the problem. This theory is related to the first concept, and that concept is the stress concept. This is the stress concept. Okay.